Was Zane about to defeat Yubel, conquering the past? God, I love GX Season 3.
Zane Truesdale is one of my favourite characters in Yu-Gi-Oh! Because he is someone that is always able to keep one-upping his opponent, no matter what gets thrown at him. So, when you put him up against the main antagonist of the third season of Yu-Gi-Oh! Yubel, whom is currently possessing someone who is one of the only two people to ever get Zane hyped in a duel, whilst also keep in mind, Zane is suffering from a heart that is rapidly reaching the end of its life. Well, that's when you get to see a duelist put everything on the line and put on the performance of their lifetime.
This duel was great. Fucking Zane and Jesse-Yubel in this episode were on point. Just so good.
So if this is the last duel I ever take part in, I can guarantee that whether I win or lose, I'm going to enjoy every last move.
I really love GX's soundtrack.
Zane Truesdale would reach the end of his dueling career and life with a 16,000 attack point Cyber End Dragon by his side. Going out not because of his opponent, but on his own terms, for the effect of one of his signature cards, Power Bond. For today's video, I want to take a really good look at this duel and see if Zane could have actually won this duel, or if his fate was sealed. Let's find this out together and jump into the duel. The duel begins and Jesse goes first. His opening hand consists of Advanced Dark, Advanced Crystal Beast, Amethyst Cat, M-Force, Gem Burst, Amber Crystal Circle, and Rainbow Path.
Alright, this is back when first player got 6 cards in hand. Damn, that's a... Wow, it hasn't been that way in a hot minute.
Jesse starts by playing his Advanced Dark field spell. That's effect makes it so that whenever he would take battle damage, he can send 1 Crystal Beast from his deck to the grave to make the damage 0. And also, if Rainbow Dragon attacks, the attack target's effects are negated. Jesse ends his turn by summoning Advanced Crystal Beast, Amethyst Cat to the field, and setting the quick play spell, M-Force, face down.
I'm gonna be real, like, the Yu-Gi-Oh! GX definitely, and Yu-Gi-Oh! As a whole, definitely shaped my choice in fashion. I look at Zane's outfit and I'm just like, yeah, that makes sense. I'd wear that. I wear the coat. I look at Jesse's outfit. I'm like, that's cool. I would wear that if I was the right build. Like, oh my, the sheer amount of belts in this anime.
It's Zane's turn and he draws. His opening hand consists of 3 copies of Cyber Dragon, Defusion, Cybernetic Hidden Technology, and Attack Reflector Unit. Zane starts by special summoning one of his Cyber Dragons, since Jesse has a monster and he doesn't. Zane thinks to himself that the weakness to the Crystal Beasts is their low attack, so most likely Advanced Dark is a card that would make up for that flaw, and
It's almost like he was a professional duelist.
thinks, well, someone without a future should have nothing to fear. The implication of this is that Zane isn't going to play cautiously in this duel. He's not going to hold himself back, wait and see what happens. He's just going to go all out attack, because this is his final duel, and he knows it.
This was definitely the depression arc of the anime too. Season 3 got just... it got mental.
So with this in mind, he immediately enters his battle phase and attacks Amethyst Cat. The monster is destroyed, but thanks to its own effect, it goes to the spell and trap zone. Then, due to the field spell, Jesse receives no battle damage, since Cobalt Eagle was sent from the deck to the grave. Zane sets his Attack Reflector Unit face down and ends his turn. Why? Some of you might ask. Didn't he set Cybernetic Hidden Technology face down? Well, because, I don't know, I have no idea why I didn't set it face down. In fact, it's the first big misplay of the duel, and something that may have cost him the duel. But we'll get to that a little bit later. It's Jesse's
Yeah, GX Season 4 was just existentialism cranked up to 11, and I loved it.
turn, and he draws Sapphire Pegasus. He summons it to the field and uses its effect to place Ruby Carbuncle straight from his deck into the spell and trap zone. Then, thanks to Carbuncle's anime effect, whenever Carbuncle is in the spell and trap zone, once per turn, it can special summon itself to the field. Jesse does this, which causes Carbuncle's second effect to kick in, which lets it special summon all the Crystal Beasts in the spell and trap zone when it's special summoned. So, Amethyst Cat returns to the field. Jesse then activates his face down spell, M-Force, which increases the attack of Sapphire Pegasus by 500, making it stronger than Zane's Cyber Dragon. And not only that, but it also makes Sapphire Pegasus capable of inflicting piercing battle damage until the end of the turn. Jesse orders Pegasus to attack, but Zane plays his face down Attack Reflector Unit to tribute Cyber Dragon, so we can special summon his Cyber Barrier Dragon from his deck in defense position. Now, with 2,800 defense points, Yubel chooses not to attack with Pegasus. Instead, he attacks directly with Amethyst Cat by using its effect to halve its own attack to attack directly. The attack is successful and Zane receives the first damage of the duel, which takes a heavy toll on Zane's heart despite only being a small bit of damage. Jesse sets his rainbow path face down and ends his turn, and when he does, the effect of M-Force ends. It's Zane's turn and he draws Polymerization. He switches Cyber Barrier Dragon to attack and then plays Poly to fuse his two Cyber Dragons in his hand together to make the Cyber Twin Dragon. Zane enters his battle phase and attacks Sapphire Pegasus with Cyber Twin. The attack is successful, but Jesse uses Advanced Dark to make the damage 0 by sending Emerald Tortoise to the grave. Pegasus then uses its effect to go to the Spell and Trap Zone instead. Zane attacks again with Cyber Twin thanks to its effect, this time choosing Amethyst Cat. The attack succeeds again, and again Jesse uses Advanced Dark to nullify the damage.
I mean, at this point, this is intentional on Zane's part. He is trying to fish out his ace.
This time at the cost of Amber Mammoth. And of course, Amethyst Cat becomes a continuous spell. Finally, Zane attacks Ruby Carbuncle with his Cyber Barrier Dragon. The attack works, but once again, Jesse uses Advanced Dark to mitigate the damage. This time at the cost of the last Crystal Beast in his deck, Topaz Tiger. And, like the other crystals, Carbuncle goes to the Spell and Trap Zone. Even after this impressive display, Zane isn't done. He plays his quick play spell, Defusion, to summon back the two Cyber Dragons that were used for Cyber Twin. With 2 more attacks available, the first Cyber Dragon attacks directly, dealing 2,100 damage. Then, as the second Cyber Dragon attacks for seemingly gain, it is revealed that Jesse played his trap, Rainbow Path, which allowed him to send one random Crystal Beast in his Spell and Trap Zone to the grave to negate the attack and also add Rainbow Dark Dragon from his deck to his hand. Ruby Carbuncle is the Crystal Beast chosen, and so goes to the grave. Now, with no more plays left, Zane ends his turn. At this point in the duel, Jesse has 3 cards in his hand: Rainbow Dark Dragon, Gem Burst, and Amber Crystal Circle. Zane, on the other hand, only has 1 card, which is Cybernetic Hidden Technology, which he still hasn't set. It's back to Jesse, and he draws Counter Gem. Now, since there are 7 different advanced Crystal Beast monsters on the field and in the graveyard, he has all the prerequisites to summon his ultimate monster, Rainbow Dark Dragon. With this behemoth on the field, Jesse uses it to attack Zane's Cyber Barrier Dragon. However, Zane activates its effect to negate the attack. Unbeknownst to him though, Advanced Dark negates the effects of monsters whom Rainbow Dragon attacks. Barrier Dragon is destroyed, taking with it all but 200 of Zane's life points. And, oh boy, his heart does not like that. Jesse ends by setting Counter Gem face down. And keep in mind, Rainbow Dark Dragon can't use any of its effects the first turn it's summoned, so that's why he didn't boost its attack and try and go for game then. So, yeah, just to let you all know, it couldn't use its effects on the turn it was summoned. Anyway, it's back to Zane and he draws Photon Generator Unit. He activates it at the cost of his 2 Cyber Dragons on the field. Doing so allows him to summon Cyber Laser Dragon from his deck. Zane uses its effect to destroy Rainbow Dark Dragon. However, Jesse uses Rainbow Dragon's ability to keep itself alive by sending Amethyst Cat in the Spell and Trap Zone to the grave. Zane finishes his turn by finally setting Cybernetic Hidden Technology face down. It's Jesse's turn and he draws Rainbow Life. He goes straight into his battle phase and uses Rainbow Dark Dragon to attack Cyber Laser Dragon. However, Zane activates Cybernetic Hidden Technology and tributes Cyber Laser Dragon to destroy Rainbow Dark Dragon and end the battle phase. Of course, Jesse uses Rainbow Dark's effect to keep itself alive, this time sending Sapphire Pegasus. Jesse then sets Rainbow Life and ends his turn. Now there's
definitely more cohesion to the gameplay, because I mean, Duel Monsters was different. I have trouble going back to Duelist Kingdom, let's put it that way. As much as I like Yugi Boy, as much as I love Pegasus, the absolute playboy that man is, like, Duelist Kingdom hurts because there's not really a coherent set of rules. Battle City was when rules kind of start getting adopted a little bit more in the anime itself specifically. GX, Season 3 of GX, we've had a lot more time to solidify rules in the anime. And actually, just even like GX going ham out episode 1, I mean, there was a coherent playstyle that more closely matched the actual trading card game.
This is something that I brought up at the start of the duel, but Cybernetic Hidden Technology. What would have happened in this duel if Zane had set that card on the first turn? Because keep in mind, it is a continuous trap card. He could have been using this throughout the entire duel whenever he wanted to protect himself. Of course, it costs a cyber monster to use, but that's better than getting attacked into, right? Hypothetically, had Zane set Cybernetic Hidden Technology on the first turn, then realistically, he still wouldn't have activated it until Rainbow Dark Dragon attacks Cyber Barrier Dragon. As honestly, he had outs for all the other situations without needing to use this card. However, had he used it then, he wouldn't have taken 3,800 damage. Instead, Cyber Barrier Dragon would have simply just gone to the grave, and Rainbow Dark Dragon would have lost one of its 2 crystal protections. Then, next turn, Cyber Laser Dragon would have used its ability to take the last crystal protection, meaning when you fast forward to this turn, when Cyber Laser Dragon got attacked, Zane could have activated Cybernetic Hidden Technology again. However, the big difference here is that Rainbow Dark Dragon would be out of crystals for its protection, so it would have been destroyed. And if
and we look at this. I mean, this seems to be the logical play. I mean, Zane could have also been concerned about Spell and Trap and Mystical Space Typhoon, right? MST everywhere, and I think it actually showcased a lot in the anime as well. He could have been like trying to save it so that way it doesn't get MST'd, because then at that point it's just useless because it's in the grave.
If you say, knowing this, Jesse wouldn't have attacked, well, he would have had to, because if he doesn't destroy Cyber Laser Dragon, next turn, Cyber Laser Dragon will use its ability to destroy it.
Yeah.
So he has to attack into it for itself to be destroyed and to get rid of Cyber Laser. So this seems better, right? Zane made a misplay at the start. Well, we're not considering one thing, and that's Jesse's face down. Counter Gem. Unfortunately, with this card, when Zane tries to get rid of Rainbow Dark Dragon, Jesse can just activate this to replenish his defenses, giving Rainbow Dark Dragon 5 extra lives. However, there are some benefits to this. Fast forwarding to the end of the duel, there would only be 4 crystals left in Jesse's back row. So, in the final attack, when Rainbow Dark Dragon's effect is boosted, it would only go up to 8,000, meaning the power-bonded Cyber End Dragon with 8,000 attack would crash into it. Which would ultimately end with Rainbow Dark Dragon being defeated by Zane, but also Cyber End Dragon. And then Zane would still have taken the 4,000 damage and died. And that's where this hypothetical, unfortunately, ends. It would have changed the ending ever so slightly, but Zane would have still lost. So Cybernetic Hidden Technology, unfortunately, you were not Zane's win condition. Unlucky. Getting back to the duel, and it's Zane's turn. And he has absolutely nothing, which Yubel reminds him of.
No monsters, no spells or traps, no defense. Even your hand is empty.
Anyway, he destiny draws and gets Cyber Valley, which is
Oh man, Cyber Valley, you were a $30 card back in the day. Woo!
summons to the field. He activates its second effect that allows it to remove both itself and one other card the duelist owns from play to draw 2 new cards, which are Overload Fusion and Dimension Explosion. Saying
Me and the only bitch I trust, Overload Fusion and Overload Fusion.
immediately activates Overload Fusion, which in
Cyber Dragon players be like, yes.
the anime lets him banish monsters from his grave to summon any machine-type fusion. He has 2 options here, Cyber End Dragon or Chimera Tech Over Dragon. If he summons either one of these, he's going to have a monster with 4,000 attack, which, unfortunately, is not enough to defeat Rainbow Dark Dragon. So he chooses a third option, a new monster.
Fortress?
Chimera Tech
Yeah.
Fortress Dragon. He banishes his 3 Cyber Dragons and Cyber Laser and Cyber Barrier.
Wait, you can't... Wait, that's not how that... Is that how that works? Hold up. Mera Tech Fortress Dragon. I don't think you can use Overload on it. Summoning condition, Cyber Dragon, +1, machine monsters, cannot be fusion summoned, must first be just summoned from your extra deck. Sending the above cards from either field. Yes, no, that, yeah, so Chimera Tech Fortress Dragon, as with Mega Fleet, the obviously arguably crept version of this, the reason this was in side decks was because if someone's playing like Cleforts or something, like, you just snatch, or Cosmo, you just snatch all their shit and you have your own body. It's the anime condition. Okay, yeah, so that's an animeism. Chimera Tech Fortress does not work that way.
To summon
IRL.
it. Now I'm going to warn you all, Chimera Tech Fortress Dragon's effect
Why would... Of course it's Doc that's correcting me, because Doc is the resident Cyber Dragon player. I mean, to be fair.
Differs heavily in the anime. Basically, it has 0 attack when summoned. Its effect is, when it's summoned, you have to send all of a card you control to the grave. If Chimera Tech Fortress Dragon attacks, damage calculation is not applied. Instead, each time this card attacks, inflict 400 damage to your opponent. Plus, this monster can attack your opponent's monsters once for each fusion material monster used for its summon. Since Zane used 5 monsters, it has 5 attacks. Zane uses Chimera Tech to attack Rainbow Dragon 4 times successfully, reducing Jesse's life points all the way down to 300. Then, as Zane attacks with what would be the final attack of the duel, Jesse plays his face down Rainbow Life, which lets him negate all effect damage he took prior to its activation, and then increases life points by the damage he took. However, Chimera Tech Fortress Dragon's final attack is still successful. Zane is forced to end his turn by setting Dimension Explosion face down.
Yeah, no, like that is a wildly and vastly different card than it is IRL. So this makes sense that it has this, especially for scripting the duel.
It's Jesse's turn and he draws something. This card is never shown, nor does he use it, so it doesn't really matter in the grand scheme of things, because most likely it wasn't playable. But if you want to put a name on it, let's just say it's Crystal Release.
He drew a brick, he drew the second Rainbow Dark Dragon.
Why not? Jesse chooses to go straight into his battle phase. He attacks Fortress Dragon, attempting to go for game. However, Zane plays Dimension Explosion that lets him return Chimera Tech back into the extra deck in order for both players to summon as many of their removed from play monsters back to the field. Zane resummons his Cyber Valet and his 3 Cyber Dragons. Unfortunately, Laser and Barrier can't be summoned.
Right, because of their condition. Can be supposed to make... because Barrier has to be with Attack Reflector unit, Photon Generator unit is laser, so they have to be special summoned by their proper cards.
Due to their summoning restrictions. And since Jesse had no banished monsters, he is unable to summon anything. Which, if we're getting technical, in the real world, you wouldn't be able to make this play. Since Jesse had no targets for the effect of this card, Zane couldn't technically use it. Jesse would have to have had at least 1 card. However, it's the anime. We'll let it slide. A replay occurs and Rainbow Dragon attempts to attack, but Cyber Valley removes itself from play to activate its first effect, to end the battle phase and allow Zane to draw 1 card.
Cyber Valley was really just good when it came out. It was sheer value back in the day. It cannot be understated. Like it was good.
The card drawn is Cybernetic Zone. We'll talk about that card a bit later. With no further plays, Jesse ends his turn, and we move on to the final turn of the duel. Zane draws, and he lets out a little smile as we see what it is. Power Bond.
There it
he
is.
activates it straight away, fusing his 3 Cyber Dragons together on the...
I'm imagining Zane is just windmill slamming on the fucking... You're up against the guy at locals, and you just get the dude. He's like, we'll see what I get. Draw, windmill slam. He windmill slams, he just shotguns Power Bond out immediately. No standby phase, just shotgun Power Bond.
The field to make Cyber End Dragon, which, through the effect of Power Bond, doubles the fusion monster's attack. Zane attempts to attack Rainbow Dragon for game, but Jesse uses his trap, Counter Gem, which lets him send all cards in his spell and trap card zone to the grave, then place as many crystal beasts in the grave in the spell and trap card zone as possible. Now keep in mind, to use this card, you have to send all spell and traps you have to the grave to use it. So to use this card, you have to have at least 1 spell or trap on the field to use it.
Technically, he has Advanced Dark, right?
Which, at first glance, Jesse doesn't have, so he technically can't use this card. But hang on, we're forgetting about the field spell, and apparently so did the animators. Technically, the field spell should have gone to the grave here. It doesn't make a difference at the end of the day. Jesse doesn't need to protect his Crystal Beast anymore, so he doesn't need it for that. He doesn't need to have his monsters treated as advanced Crystal Beasts either, so that's not a big deal either. And he'll never need to negate the effects of a monster he attacks anymore, so it doesn't matter. It's just, you can see in the background the field spell is still there.
Yeah, it's still there.
But technically, from this point on, assume the field spell has gone to the grave, okay?
Yeah.
Okay, now with 5 Crystal Beasts in his Spell and Trap zone, he uses the ultimate effect of Rainbow Dark Dragon, which allows him to send all Crystal Beasts in his Spell and Trap zone to the grave to increase the attack of Rainbow Dragon by 1,000 for each. Since there were 5, Rainbow Dragon's attack increases to 9,000. Here, Zane's heart begins to truly fail, but not before activating Cybernetic Zone, which removes his Cyber End from play, stopping its attack before it could be destroyed by the 9,000 attack point Rainbow Dragon. As Zane's end phase occurs, Cyber End Dragon returns. However, this time its attack has been doubled again, now with an incredible 16,000. However, unfortunately, that's not all.
I still must pay for playing my power bond. Cyber End Dragon's original attack points now return to me as damage. And it's a lot more than this old heart of mine can handle.
The final effect of Power Bond kicks in, inflicting 4,000 damage to Zane and ending the duel with his defeat by his own hands.
It was less that he was going for the win, and I can do this. This is a play I have. Sure, it's going to kill me in the end, but I mean, this was also a duel to help inspire Jaden. This was a duel to help inspire strength, because Jade's going through PTSD from being the Supreme King at this point.
Rest in peace, Zane. You gave one hell of a duel, and you're an inspiration to us all. To try harder, to shine in battle. It's just such a shame you can't come back from a heart attack. Yeah, he comes back to life in the next season. There's a next season, by the way. Spoilers if you didn't know.
Oh god, I love it. So if Season 3 was depression and PTSD, Season 4 is existentialism, and I love the final duel with the final 2 duels actually with darkness. I love those. Those are really good. That's really full of philosophy, and I absolutely love it. It is existentialism dialed to 11.
Hey Cyrus, I'm proud of you, and I always will be.
No, Zane!
So what is there to say about this duel? Well, in all honesty, both duelists actually put on the performance of their lifetime. They both dueled the best possible plays that the cards that they had could have given them. Basically, Jesse-Yubel's goal was to fill up the graveyard and the field with as many Crystal Beast monsters as they could, which the field spell helped do. He knew what his end goal was. Get all those cards in the graveyard as fast as possible, get Rainbow Dark Dragon in hand, summon it to the field, and then just keep slamming into Zane until he was dead. Although if I had to have 1 or 2 criticisms of Jesse's deck, one would be the fact that he only plays 8 monsters. He plays the 7 Crystal Beasts, 1 of each, and then 1 Rainbow Dark Dragon. I understand why this happens
He definitely got pot agreed in there somewhere, let's be real.
in anime. You can't have multiples of any cards most of the time because I guess they only made 1 of them. But the Crystal Beast is special as well, so it's only fair. But 8 monsters in a 40 card deck, that's ridiculous. But that was my only real complaint with Jesse-Yubel in this duel. For Zane,
Is he playing No Hope for Escape Exodia? Am I right?
I actually do think he played the best possible duel that he could. The only mistakes really was the cybernetic hidden technology. Probably could have played that at the start of the duel. We found out that most likely he still would have lost the duel, but it would have put him in a much better position more often. He wouldn't have took as much heart attack damage, if you will, so that might have helped. And there was one other thing that I felt was a misplay off Zane. It was 1 card. Cybernetic Zone. Don't get me wrong, it makes a cool moment. The monster disappears, then comes back mysteriously with 16,000 attack.
Right.
That's pretty cool. But if you read the card, it's trash.
Bold of you to assume that I can read. I cannot figure out what Ballpark does.
Its effect is you banish 1 machine fusion monster until the end phase. When that monster is returned to the field, double its attack. Then, during your next standby phase, destroy it. The only way this card is good is for a 1-turn defensive move. You have your Cyber End Dragon on the field, your opponent activates Magic Cylinder, Mirror Force, I don't care what, you get rid of your monster, then the turn ends, and then during your opponent's turn, you have an 8,000 attack point monster that keeps you alive that turn. However, the big problem is, as soon as that turn ends, it's destroyed during your standby phase. What this also means is it's absolutely useless to use on your opponent's turn. Your opponent activates Regeki, you get rid of your monster with this card, it comes back during the end phase, literally 2 seconds later during the standby phase, it blows up, unless you have some really crazy way of keeping
The Rock! Oh, Nibiru, my beloved.
it alive. But then I'm guessing you're going to say, well, just don't use it during your opponent's turn. Well, then this card is useless, half of the time. It's just not good. It just should not have been in Zane's deck. Oh, and on top of that, I hate to have to do this, but Cyber End Dragon wouldn't come back with 16,000 attack points, unfortunately. But you see, when it has the 8,000 attack with Power Bond, it gets taken off the field, it loses that extra 4,000. So it'll come back with 4,000 and then get doubled again to 8,000. This is what reality looks like. I know it's boring, it's not very fun, but unfortunately, that is what really would happen. So the point I'm getting...
No, it was meant to be a moment. It was meant to be an inspiring moment. It had no mechanical effect on the duel other than leaving a lasting emotional impression.
Getting at is this card should have been something else. Like, imagine instead that Zane drew limiter removal instead. Well, that would have done the exact same thing, except, you know, won Zane the duel. But that's just a hypothetical. Limiter removal was probably in Zane's deck, he just didn't get it. And at the end of the day, Jesse-Yubel was the definitive winner of this duel, as the card Zane was given ultimately ended in his defeat. And that's okay, because the point of this duel was never really to win. It was for Zane to shine one final time before his ultimate end, and to show Jaden it's not all about winning. Plus, cool points, Yubel was physically shaken after the...
Which comes into play in the finale. Oh boy, we'll get to the finale of Season 4 after the darkness bits, because, well, if you haven't seen the finale of GX Season 4, I highly recommend it. It's breathtaking, let's put it that way.
The duel. And yeah, with that was a duel analysis of Zane Truesdale versus Jesse Anderson, who is possessed by Yubel. Hope you all enjoyed, and thank you for watching. Bye everyone.
That was epic. I love that. GX is definitely one of my favorite series because of the sheer amount of just shenanigans into existentialism and dread it goes into. It's a story with layers. That was fabulous. That was very... I will definitely be watching more of that. That is nothing short of amazing.